Welcome to Chuck Builds. Been a minute since I've made a video for this series. I kind of got everything settled and working and then just stepped back for a little bit for the holidays. And I'm still working on getting more parts that I want to do for some automations. I still need to get some spotlights and cameras and things of that nature set up. But a quick one I'm going to do today, we're going to be doing a sleep mode and a good night button. I really enjoy this next to my bed as when I'm getting ready for bed. I'm under the sheets, ready to go to sleep. I make sure I hit this button and it locks the door, turns off the lights, and you can set automations around that. I used to have it set all kinds of security alarms and stuff like that. But my wife was asking me because I was out of town and she wanted to turn off the lights and the button was on my side. And she said, I want one. So I've already done this once and I'm going to film it doing it the second time for the second button. And we'll go through some options here. I'll have a link in the description to Amazon for these Akera Zigbee buttons. You might be better off going to IKEA and getting their Zigbee buttons, depending on where you live. I think these are more expensive now on Amazon. I'll have a few options in the description. And the first thing we're going to do is pair this button here. I need to put a battery in to my Zigbee. There's a button here on the side. And so I'll press and hold that and we'll get a blue light there. And so as I'm doing that, I'm going to click permit join and I'm holding, waiting for it to pair. Looks like it got picked up right here. So it's interviewing, and ideally you would want to do that pairing in its final location. I'm trying to film it, so I'm not doing that. And then we'll go to this device. And if you haven't noticed, Zigbee to MQTT had a huge change and it looks very, very different now. But what we'll do here is go to our devices and we're going to find this one without a name. Call this bedroom button. It's Mina. So now our devices are next to each other. When I am naming them, I'm trying to kind of stick to the same pattern that I know exactly where it is and what it's doing. And so with these buttons, we'll go to the exposes tab and it's all null. So what I'll do here is I'll click the button and we can see all we got was an action triggered of single. And it might still be interviewing, but then if you press the side button here, it tells you the battery life, the device temperature, how many times it's lost power, which is really high for some reason. We have this button in here, we know the name, and we know our exposes that we're looking for action. But this is gonna be a little different on how we've done some of our other devices in Zigbee, and that's because this action doesn't expose very nicely to Node Red. So what we'll do is go to Node Red. So in Node Red, we're going to have a fresh sheet here, flows. I forget the exact terminology. I kind of think of them as sheets. And so what I'm going to do first is put a comment here, and I'm going to set up the bedroom buttons. And we're using MQTT-N instead of our Home Assistant nodes. So we were doing something like event state. This one's going to be a little different. We're using the MQTT node, and we're coming into Node Red. Going to grab our Home Assistant MQTT server. If it's not already there, you can add it and just enter your information. And then the topic is going to be Zigbee to MQTT, and then bedroom, button, Yasmina, and then action. And this is case sensitive, so make sure that if you named your button with all lowercase or uppercase, you have it exactly that. And then we'll click done, and then we'll scroll down and grab a debug node and drop that in over here and click deploy. And so then if we click this button, we can see we get a single and we can get a double, and you can hold and release and count those as well. But I'm really just going to do single for now and just keep it simple. So we have two buttons. We have one for my wife, one for me. So I'm going to copy that and just rename it here to Charles. I'm going to connect this to the debug and deploy and just make sure before we do anything that it's all working. So we get single for Charles and then single for Yasmina. We got an error from a different automation I had already set up, so we can ignore that. So how do we want this to work? I think at a certain time, I usually go to bed around 11. If it's an hour before, hour after, somewhere in that space, when I hit the button, I want it to be nighttime. I want the lights to turn off. I want to lock the door. I would set an alarm, but I don't have an alarm set up. And do things like that. So if it's outside of that evening window of, let's say, 9 to midnight or something, then I just want to turn off the lights. That means I'm taking a nap on the weekend. That means I'm sick or I'm having a migraine, and I just want to hit the button and everything goes dark. So we're going to use time for that. And we're going to look for a node that'll accommodate us. So we got time range right here. I think that's pretty close. Evening time slot decision. So we need our latitude and longitude as well. And so I just go to Google Maps for that. I just get that from Google Maps, and hopefully that's not too close to my actual house. Start time is going to be 24 hours. And so I'm going to do a pretty wide range, actually. I think I'm going to do 200, was that 8 p.m.? And then end time we'll just say is 23:59. Or no, we'll do 7 a.m. in case I'm sleeping in. And so I'm going to pass these over and get rid of the debug. And so to be more specific here, 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. decision. So we have this decision here, and we have two nodes. We have within this time period and outside of this time period. And we have an easy one for action. We'll do outside of this time period. If these buttons are pressed, I want to turn off the lights. So turn off indoor lights. Action is going to be light dot turn off, and then our entity is going to be indoor light group. And so this indoor light group does all of my Zigbee lights and then any additional like Wi-Fi or Matter lights as well. And so that will grab all the indoor lights and turn them off whenever I press that button. I'm going to hit deploy to save, and we can kind of see this happen in real time. If we hit this button right now outside of that time period, we should see it come through and turn off the lights, and my office light just turned off. So that works. But now we have a little bit bigger of a decision, which is going to be within that time period. We could go through and do something similar with turn off lights, and we could set up a node for lock the door. We could do something like I have my seasonal one, like turn off my Christmas tree. It's around Christmas at the time of filming. And you can just kind of daisy chain all of these things off of that decision. But I don't like doing it that way because it's one more place I need to go check. I want to kind of think of this more as when I press this button at that time, I'm going to sleep. This is my sleep mode being enabled. So the first thing we should do is create a sleep mode. And so we're going to do that in Home Assistant. We'll go to our settings, devices and services, helpers. And you can see I've already created this here, but it's an input Boolean, and that is sleep mode. And that just means it's true or false when it's Boolean. But you're going to come in here and click create a helper, and we're going to grab a toggle, and we'll call it sleep mode YouTube. And then for the icon, do some Z's or sleep. Let's see. We can grab one of these icons here. We'll click save, and we get an input toggle sleep mode YouTube, and I'm going to delete that immediately and use the other sleep mode. But the way this works is you toggle it on or off. And so that was just to show you how to make it. I'm going to delete that, and we're going to use the existing sleep mode back in Node-RED. If you had just created that helper, you might need to restart Node-RED for it to see that helper. I can't remember exactly how it is, but it might not be visible instantaneously. So if it's not showing up, do a quick restart, and then we'll go over to our flows here, and we're going to do a action, and this action will be turn on sleep mode. And this will be input Boolean turn on, and the entity is sleep mode, which is my only one of that kind. So at night, turn on sleep mode. And so now that we have our sleep mode, a situation I've run into somewhat recently and I accounted for here, and I'm kind of contradicting myself. It's sleep mode, it's 2 a.m., you get up to use the restroom, you get some water, you come back to bed, the light's turned on, and you need to turn them off with one click. You go to hit the click. Well, sleep mode's already on, so it's not doing anything else. So I will sometimes grab the indoor lights and just follow sleep mode with that. And I am contradicting myself because I previously said you don't want to track it in multiple places. There's a couple of ways you could do this. This is like a very quick and dirty way of doing it. But I think we're okay to do this for now, and you can call me dumb in the comments. All right, so now that we have our buttons working, we need to actually define what sleep mode is and how it works. So we're going to grab our comment node here, call it sleep mode. And then we're going to grab a event state node here because we're now using a Home Assistant entity. And we're going to call this is sleep mode on. The entity is sleep mode, and we're going to have output on connect to verify we're doing this correctly. But if the state is on, we want to do something. And if the state is off, we want to do something else. You could do this right here as an if state, or you could do this with a switch function or change function or node. This should keep it kind of simple for us right now. And we'll grab a debug node here, deploy to save, and then we'll go to Home Assistant and search sleep mode and turn it on. Come over, we can see that string 2 is on, so we did accurately execute this flow going up. So we have sleep mode, we have our check for it. And there's kind of two ways you want to think about this, obviously on and off, but this is the one place that I put all of those functions I described previously. So if we are in sleep mode, if I toggle this some other way, I want to turn off the lights for sure. What else do I want to do? I want to turn off my Christmas tree. So I'm going to do turn off living room plug. Action will be switch. Turn off. Entity target will be living room pillar plug, and right away turn off living room plug. I can actually stack it long ways to make some space. So turn off lights, turn on off the plug. So if sleep mode is on, another thing I want to do is I want to turn on adaptive lighting sleep mode, and that is going to crash the lights down to like 1% and very, very red. And that's something we defined in my previous video setting up adaptive lighting. So we're going to call an action here. Turn on sleep mode adaptive lighting. Action, I think, is switch toggle on, and we'll come to entity adaptive brightness, color, general. Maybe I turn off the action first. Adaptive lighting sleep mode is a switch, and that's for my general group. If you have multiple groups, you would input multiples here. And it's adaptive lighting sleep. I have just the one. So I'm going to keep just the one, and then the action will be switch lighting. We want to make sure our action is switch turn on, and click done there. And I can continue changing them out this way, or I can stack them up the other way if I wanted. And I'm going to just put a debug here to show that it goes all the way through the string. And I'm going to come back to sleep mode to turn it on. And it shoots through here, and I get the debug message of on right here. So that's a convenient way to save space if you're going to be doing a lot. There are other ways to visualize this, but I do like to kind of see it go boom, 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 and you know it's working. But the flip side, when sleep mode is off, what do we want to happen? You don't want to turn on every light, so we're going to ignore that. So the easy thing that we do want to do is turn off sleep mode for adaptive lighting, and I'm going to switch that to turn off. I guess I did this one backwards. I put this one to turn on, and I'm going to come use this trail here for that. Another thing we might want to do is turn off my patio plug, and that is some Christmas lights right by my bedroom window. Plug, turn off, entity, patio plug, turn it off, and just connect those there. We'll hit deploy to save. If I'm in bed after 8 p.m., turn off the lights and turn on sleep mode. What is sleep mode? That's turning off my lights, turning off my plugs, turning on adaptive lighting for the sleep mode, and just a bunch of stuff like that. All we're doing here, though, is we're turning on sleep mode and we're checking if sleep mode is on. So we might want another to turn off sleep mode. And when do you want sleep mode to turn off? Usually for me, it's when I get out of bed. And my schedule lately has been all over the place. If you have a very set time that you are up at 6 a.m. every single day, 7 a.m. every single day, you can set a timer for that. But I'll warn you, when that's happening, like it can be a rough awakening if you're super hungover sleeping in. So for the time, I think what I'm going to do is event state, and we're going to find the time entity, and it's sensor.time. Time, and I believe every minute this just outputs the time, and so we can check that with a debug node. And while we're waiting on a minute to pass, so I think what we'll do here is we'll get a switch node. Let's do when time equals 7 o'clock, we're going to turn off sleep mode, and that's going to be a action. Grab our entity of sleep mode, and then we can change this to input boolean turn off. Turn off sleep mode. And here the time just rolled by, a minute went by, and it's giving us a string of 11:56. I don't know if there's a preceding 0 on the 7. And so what I can maybe do to check that is go to the time sensor and see if we scroll back. There is a preceding 0. So we'll change this to 0700. And we'll pair this down in here. And so at 7 a.m., it's going to turn off sleep mode. But that's a kind of dumb way to do it, that it's just the same time every single day. If you have a strict schedule, that could be good for you. For me, I previously had a bunch of other sensors, like a bed sensor. If my phone wasn't charging and I left the bed between these hours, then it could turn off sleep mode. But sometimes that meant the lights would come on a little earlier than I would like. Right now, I'll leave it at 7 because my dogs usually get me up at 7 anyway, just because that's simple. And we will name this turn off sleep mode and save. And so why did I like to use the sleep mode version at all? One, it makes it a little simpler on the buttons that we're just turning on sleep mode, but we can now also check that that is on, that that's something that we want to use. And I'll share with you an automation that I use for my lighting, specifically my bedroom motion lighting here. So I'll just copy it over so it's a little easier to see. For the bedroom motion lighting, when motion is detected, I want to turn on my lights. However, I do not want to turn on my lights if it's sleep mode. If I am in bed going to sleep, I don't want these lights turning on when I get up for water. I don't want my dogs turning these lights on. So as long as sleep mode is on equals false, is what we can see through this bottom line right here. If the statement is false, so it's not on, then turn on the lights. And that's been pretty reliable for me. And another lighting automation I use with my sleep mode is in my master bathroom that's connected to the master bedroom. If sleep mode is on, only turn on one of the lights. So if it is on, is true, we're going to turn on this one single light on the lowest brightness percentage. I have it at 20%, but whatever you want to set it to. Otherwise, turn on the whole light group as normal. In this way, you get up in the night, it's just dark and dim. You don't get a huge blast of light coming out of your bathroom. Even though you have adaptive lighting turned on, when you turn on a couple of bulbs, it still can be pretty bright. And that's kind of why I like the sleep mode, is you can start adding it into your other automations, and it's pretty clear that it's while I'm asleep. It's the sleep mode. And so you can keep building that into other automations without having to check, is it between this time? Is he home? Is this happening? Kind of thing. With the buttons, we don't have some of the presence detection stuff. I tried to automate this in my old house to where if I was home and it was during this time and my computer was off and my TV was off and all these different things, then turn on sleep mode. But honestly, the button is just so much easier, and it's so much more like it makes sense when you hit the button, you're in bed. I had a couple of false positives. If I was out of town and my wife was doing different things around the house, like reading a book, sometimes it would think it was sleep time and all the lights would turn off and she'd have to get her phone out and turn it back on. So that can be less than ideal, and why the button is kind of nice. This video has gone on for way too long, so I'm going to wrap it up real quick here, that this is our sleep mode. In the future, when we have a security alarm system, we'll add that right here. When sleep mode is on, set the alarm. When sleep mode is off, turn off the alarm. And we might make this turn off sleep mode a little smarter in the future once I build a bed sensor. Just a little something to throw out there, because I was reminded it has been a moment since my last upload, and hopefully this is helpful or something to consider. And again, I have a link in the description to buy these buttons or a different button out there. I'll have a couple of options for you. It really helps me out. I earn a small commission, and it makes making these videos a lot more worth it.